Given how interesting the lifestyles of the rich and famous are, it's kind of a no-brainer that some of them may land in legal trouble. While tons of the celebrities have gotten away with their deeds, some are not so lucky, and some may also have been caught lying while on the stand. If you were caught lying, that's grounds for perjury, and it's a sentence not taken too lightly. So here are 10 celebrities who were caught lying under oath. Number 10. Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is first up on our list as someone who pled not guilty to charges of forcing himself onto an 18-year-old girl. To this day, he maintains his own innocence, but the court says otherwise. While on the stand, Mike gave a testimony of his alibi. Basically, he detailed what he was doing the night of the attack and gave specific times to when he was doing what. But the attorney of the young woman was swiftly and ruthlessly able to poke holes in his story. The woman in question was Miss Black Rhode Island and was in town to attend the Miss Black America pageant. She met Mike there at the event and 2 days later was admitted to an emergency room in a hospital for physical harm. She was on the stand and told the courtroom that he had invited her over to his room where he forced himself onto her. Despite pleading not guilty, it is hard to dispute an alibi that had tons of witnesses. The trial lasted 2 weeks before Tyson was found guilty. Although he was sentenced to 10 years in prison, he only did 3 years. Number 9. Lori Loughlin. Lori Loughlin was at the center of the college admissions scandal that became a total media frenzy. She had paid $500,000 to an individual who would then forge documents that Lori's 2 daughters were on the rowing team, thereby allowing them entrance to the University of Southern California based on athletic merit rather than academic merit. Although she pleaded not guilty to the charges against her, once she was on the stand, however, and judges swiftly followed with hard documentation of what she had done, she changed her not guilty plea to guilty of 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire and mail fraud. Her husband also changed his plea to guilty in the hopes of receiving a lesser sentence. Although she maintained her innocence in the beginning of the trial, by the end of it she had no choice but to come clean. Number 8. Tanya Harding. Tanya Harding is the infamous ex-Olympic figure skater who was arrested for being involved in the attack of Nancy Kerrigan, another figure skater who stood in Tanya's way of winning the Olympic gold medal. While she wasn't caught lying on the stand, she was caught lying by the FBI under interrogation. Her ex-boyfriend, Jeff, was thought to have attacked Nancy, and Tanya was thought to maybe have had knowledge about the attack. The interrogation lasted about 10 hours, and 8 hours into the interview, Tanya's lawyers stated on her behalf that she believed Jeff to be entirely innocent of any wrongdoing. The FBI agent stated, Miss Harding had changed her story well into the long interview. After hours of denying any involvement and trying to cover up the plot, another FBI agent finally told her that he knew she had lied to him, that he would tell her exactly how she had lied to him. Also in the tapes is Tanya's confession, where she finally admits that she knew that Jeff had carried out the attack and that she had failed to report it afterwards, although she maintained that she didn't know about it beforehand. I hope everyone understands. I'm telling on someone I really care about. I know Jeff is involved. I'm sorry. Number 7. Martha Stewart. Martha Stewart is absolutely infamous, and not just for her shortbread cookies. A day before one of her stocks fell, Martha mysteriously sold her share of the stocks off to avoid any financial fallout. There was heavy media scrutiny at the time, and when she was asked about it on her show, she just replied, "I want to focus on my salad." Eventually, Stewart was indicted by the government on 9 counts, including securities fraud and obstruction of justice. The obstruction of justice charge was because while she was on the stand, under oath, Martha lied about the stock sale, stating that she had no knowledge of any insider trading occurring before the stock fell. Her story was quickly poked through when the man who told her about the falling stock admitted to lying to the FBI. She was then sentenced to 5 months in federal prison. Number 6. Bill Clinton. Okay, I guess not a celebrity if you really think about it, but I mean, actually technically kinda. A former president could definitely be considered a celebrity in some ways. Months after supposedly not having sexual relations with Monica Lewinsky, a White House intern, President Clinton gave a nationally televised statement to admit to finally having a relationship with her that would be deemed, not appropriate. Although it's not a crime to be intimate in the Oval Office, it is a crime to lie under oath, which Bill did when he stated that he did not have a sexual relationship with Monica. Eventually, it led to the impeachment of Bill Clinton with the specific charges of lying under oath and obstruction of justice. Not good. Number 5. Jeffrey Archer. If you're a true crime fan, you know who Jeffrey Archer is. He's a famous novelist from England, although he is more so known in the UK as being a longtime member of Parliament in the Conservative Party. Now, a scandal quickly came out though about the politician where he was accused of flying a professional dancer out to the UK to have an intimate relationship with him. Archer sued the article publisher for libel and explained he was simply being philanthropic by helping out a down-on-her-luck woman with some traveling funds. The story was odd, but for some reason he won the case. But then only a few years later, another article was published that gave evidence that Archer had actually lied under oath. He was then brought again to court where friends changed their stories and he was eventually found guilty of perjury, meaning lying under oath. And he spent 2 years in prison for that one. Number 4. Marion Jones. Marion Jones was the world's fastest woman at the 2000 Olympics. She was on top of the world as far as athletes go, but her fall from grace was almost as swift as she is. Jones was quickly blasted for being associated with performance-enhancing substances, and other track stars became extremely suspicious of whether or not she used them to achieve her miraculous speed. But she maintained her innocence even when federal agents started looking into the claims. In the face of mounting evidence that she had actually used the performance enhancers, she continued to deny any involvement, which was a huge mistake. She then entered into court on charges of perjury for lying on the stand about her innocence. Finally, she admitted to using the steroid and was sentenced to 6 months in prison and 2 years of probation. All of her medals were stripped as well. Damn. Number 3. Lil Kim. In 2001, the rapper Lil Kim witnessed a heated weapon fight that saw over 24 shots fired between rival gangs and rap groups. When the federal grand jury called Lil Kim to testify about what she saw during the fight, she claimed not to have noticed her manager and another member of her entourage at the scene. The false testimony was found out when security camera footage showed one of the men in question actually holding the door open for Kim. She was convicted of 3 counts of perjury and 1 of conspiracy in connection to her false testimony while on the stand. She served 10 months in federal prison and paid a $5,000 fine. Number 2. Jussie Smollett. In 2019, the world mourned for Jussie Smollett as he claimed to have been brutally attacked in a racial hate crime while walking home. The attackers yelled pro-Donald Trump words while also saying racial and homophobic slurs. But his story quickly fell apart when, on the stand, Jussie gave his sob story before being brought evidence that he himself had set up his own attack in a bid to achieve fame and sympathy. He paid off his attackers beforehand and wore a noose around his neck hours after the attack to make sure that the police saw that it was a race-related attack. Smollett initially pled not guilty and while on the stand continued to insist that he had not fabricated anything. He was swiftly found guilty of 5 of 6 charges, perjury included. He now awaits a verdict. Number 1. Amber Heard. And now lastly, the infamous Amber Heard. While I'm sure we all know by now the story that's led to the media frenzy that is the current defamation lawsuit brought upon Amber by Johnny Depp, in recent times people are bringing up evidence that Amber has lied while under oath. Back in 2020, while the Sun was being sued for libel by Johnny, Amber took to the stand and claimed under oath that she had donated the full $7 million that she received from the divorce settlement to charity. On the stand, she stated $7 million in total were donated. But one of the charities, the ACLU, testified that she had not in fact donated all of the money and had only donated 1.3 million of the 3.5 million they were promised. They even claim that Elon Musk had donated most of that money in her name rather than Amber herself. In 2022 now, Amber is faced with the fact that she lied about the donations and told the court, "I have every intention of keeping all my promises. I would love for him to stop suing me so I can do it." But Amber very well could face charges of perjury for knowingly lying about donating the money. If she does, it will be after this defamation case. So that's extra stuff for us to look forward to. Thank you for watching Beyond the Screen. I've been your host, Adam Andrews, and I'll see you next time, I guess.